Hey, I'm Lex.
And I'm Gibby. And thanks for joining us for another episode of Porch Swing People.
Each week we bring on a guest to talk with them about stories from the past, things that are happening currently in their life, and their hopes and dreams for the future.
Hey Lex, it's been super nice outside. I'm assuming you've been getting out and getting exercise. What have you been doing?
Well, that's a good question. For exercise, my family and I go on daily walks in our neighborhood. I go to the gym regularly for group fitness classes, and then I go on the occasional hike when I can fit that in. What about you?
I've been doing a little bit of this and that. It has been nice, but I've been really busy at work, so I have to do a forcing function to get out and do some exercise. Mostly I exercise in my office.
That's great. You do push-ups and stuff, right?
I do push-ups and stuff. But hey, your walks and your hikes, Lex sends me pictures or videos really of some of the stuff that she sees. She sent me a video of these small little goslings. They were so cute. And then also ducklings.
That's my favorite part of our walks. There's nothing like being outside and getting fresh air and vitamin D and taking a look at what's around the world around you. Usually when we get to the pond, we turn in and I head down the trail and I say, all right, boys, let's see what we see. And we just point out all of the different flowers and frogs and, like you said, different kinds of birds. And it's a really relaxing time, but also a time for me to build in some movement time. So you need to find a pond, Gibby.
I do need to find a pond. I'm due for some fishing.
Well, yeah, you like going fishing. And didn't you go horseback riding last night, too?
I did.
That's exercise.
Yes, it is a lot of exercise, actually. But I love going horseback riding for the one sole reason is we usually go to a watering hole so I can go fishing.
So you get the best of both worlds.
Yes.
Where'd you go last night?
We went up into the Uintas. It's a huge wooded, dozens of lakes all over the place. Wild animals all over the place. It's a wonderful place. I love going up there. It's the camping, the horseback riding, the fishing. It's everything I like to do anyhow.
Well, I think that's a great segue into talking about our guest today. Like us, another outdoorsy person who enjoys being active and enjoys being outside.
Yep. So tell us about Steph.
So Stefi is one of my best friends. It's not every day that you get to have a teacher friend, a mom friend, a hiking friend, a friend, an adventure friend, all in one person. We've worked together. Now we're parenting alongside each other. We've gone paragliding together and snowshoeing together and more hikes than I could ever try to count. But something that makes Stefi different from our other guests so far is that Stefi was one of our 3 trial guests for our sample recordings that Gibby and I did before we started producing our episodes.
Otherwise known as guinea pig.
Basically. So we were kind of figuring some things out, but very lost in other things. So I would say we're not that much further along at this point, are we?
No. But you know what? It's still fun.
Yes, it was fun then. It's going to be fun today. So I'm excited to hear what she has to share with us.
Let's bring her on.
Hey, Stefi.
Hey, Steph.
Hello.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
How you doing?
Doing well. I'm excited to be here. Excited to chat with you for the next little bit.
Second try doing our podcast, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It was a great conversation the last time.
Yeah, at the end you
fun.
can tell the listeners if it were better or you guys need to
that's a good
improve a
question.
little bit more.
Yeah, I do want some feedback. Have we made any progress since that second trial recording of ours?
I mean, we'll find out, I guess. Just kidding. It's been pretty fun to log in and just feel organic and chatty. So I'm excited. It's been fun to listen to it, too.
Yay. Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Hey, Steph, could you tell us a little bit of
course.
our listeners and us about yourself?
Yeah. Let's see. I am a mom and a teacher / behavior interventionist in the Pacific Northwest, but I come from the Midwest. Let's see. I am good friends with Lex. We have known each other now for I feel like 8 years or something. Met together in education. So, I love to, we'll talk about it, but I love to hike and I love to travel and I love to hang out with friends and chat. I love to talk. So we get to just chit chat for a bit here today. I'm excited.
That's
okay,
awesome.
you know what is so funny about your intro that you just gave it's pretty much the exact same intro that I gave when I introduced you before you came on. I said she's a mom friend, she's a teacher friend, she's a hiking friend, she's a friend, and it's not every day that you get to have a friend like that.
Well, that's pretty special. I feel like we have a lot of cool things in common, and yeah, I'm really happy that we get to connect. So this is great.
We were talking to her a little bit earlier before you came on how nice it is, and I know that you are a hiker and everything. What other exercise or physical activities have you been doing?
Well, I definitely have been trying to get back into hiking a lot. I had a baby about 9 months ago, and it was really important to me while I was pregnant to maintain, like, keep going hiking, keep getting outside, keep doing something that, like, fills my soul. And the other thing that's kind of funny, I have been a runner in my life, and by been a runner, I mean, like, the last place in every race I've ever run, but I'm at least running. Have joked with my husband, like, one day I'm going to run a marathon and it will be the last time I ever run in my entire life, because I don't enjoy running, but I do enjoy the way it makes my body feel. So my favorite way to get out, to be outside and exercise and move my body, is hiking. But I have been trying to get back into running a little bit. And again, I say running, I really mean like running and then walking for a good chunk of time, but just putting miles on my shoes and being able to, like, explore the world around me in whatever capacity that looks like, more for the, like, mental health benefits than the physical health. But it feels good to be outside. That's a big lift in life, to be amongst the trees.
Yeah, that's so funny, because that's what I said in the intro too, that it's so nice to be able to be physically active but also be outside while you're doing it and getting the benefits of the fresh air and the vitamin D and looking at all of the nature around you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess the podcast is over because Lexi answered everything earlier for you.
I guess I'll just, I'll go take a hike, actually. There you go. No, I'm just kidding. I love it.
First of all, 9 months postpartum is not that long at all. But when you have a kid, for the first little bit, your hikes and your outdoor time, the way it is changes. Stefi and I have continued to go on walks and hikes, but our hikes are not, 9 miles to a mountain lake. They're a paved path in the woods,
Pushing
so it looks
a
a little
stroller
bit
or a
different.
backpack.
Yeah, pushing a stroller or a backpack.
Exactly.
And then as time goes on, it'll change again, and it'll get closer to the more strenuous hikes that we did before. But we're carrying children, or we're teaching kids to walk on their own a little bit, and I don't know, it kind of evolves as time goes on.
That's been one of my favorite things about, like, having people have gone before me in being a parent, is that, like, I get to see you take, your 3-year-old out on some of these hikes that we've done before, and they might take a little longer or they might be a little sillier, but I feel very empowered that I can take my son with me on these different adventures. I think you were the one who taught me how to use the backpack, and after we did that the first time, I was like, oh, I can go anywhere now. It's really special to be able to share such a grounding thing for me with him too, because I hope that nature is also a grounding space for him as well.
I love that. So tell us about a time when you were maybe on a hike or anywhere outside that you had a meaningful connection with nature or an animal.
Yeah, I love this question because I am the granddaughter of someone who, before she passed, was a huge camper, hiker, backpacker. And I don't even think she started those things until after, she was well into her 40s and 50s. And that was such a huge part of what I remember about her. And I love it because she has, like, I don't know, 30 grandchildren. And I think almost every one of us is really connected to nature and wildlife in some way. And so this question makes me think of her, and it makes my heart happy to think about her. I feel like I have so many answers to this question because she really taught us to be excited every time you see a squirrel, a raccoon, a deer, a moose. She loved moose. It's hard for me to pick just one answer, but I will never forget I think one of the very first times I went camping as an adult, I went to this beautiful state park here in Washington State, and we went for like a kayak ride. And as we were kayaking, we went into this little strait, and there were I think there were seals or sea lions. I'm embarrassed that I don't know the difference after 10 years, but seals or sea lions lining both sides of the bay that we were kayaking through. That alone was magical, but there were babies, and we were a little bit like, okay, we got to back up.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It was amazing, but as we're paddling away, a bald eagle just flew down and landed right in front of us. And I was like,
Wow.
I feel like a Disney princess with the seals and the sea lions and the eagle. It was,
Yeah.
and as a, a Midwesterner new to the state, that was like, now we see eagles and sea lions and seals all the time, but that was just the most magical moment. Like, wow, we are so close to these animals that are all around us, and we share space with them, and that's pretty special. So just like,
Hey,
Wow.
the takeaway here for our listeners is, you said your grandmother started in the late 30s or 40s. It's never too late to start doing it.
yeah,
Get out there.
absolutely. Like Gibby said, my grandma didn't start this hobby until a little bit, quote unquote, later in life. I love that not only did she start that later in life, I think that's a huge takeaway, but she also shared it with so many of her children and grandchildren that now there's, 35 more people who have an appreciation for wildlife and the outdoors because of her passion for it, to the point where a couple of my cousins do that now for work. And every time I'm with one of my cousins, we always go and visit a zoo or a wildlife preserve. And it's just a really big part of our lives now. And I think that's because of her, which is really special. So
That's awesome.
Well, that is an amazing legacy. But it is more than 35 people. It's 35 people and their kids and everybody that they impact. I mean, if some of your cousins are working outdoors as part of their jobs, then all of those people that they're impacting are another product from your grandma's legacy, and now sharing your passion of being outdoors with your son, that is from your grandma's legacy. So it will continue on and on.
it's pretty special.
Speaking of connections with other people, what's a connection with another person that you're valuing these days?
I have sort of a two-part answer to this too. I just love to talk. So I first of all, I think just being 9 months postpartum, this connection with both my son and my husband and how our relationship has transformed, and getting to watch this little human who is like an extension of both of us and have his own little personality, and pick him up at the end of the day and he comes crawling with a big smile on his face, like that. It's like the most cliche mom answer in the world, but that's an incredible connection. But with that, I think the other connection that I'm really valuing, and it's not just because I'm here on this podcast, is the connection with you, Lex, and the other couple of friends that we have who are also parents of young kids. I'm like honestly a little teary-eyed about it. I would not survive this stage of life without other new parents and without other people who tell me that a swim diaper doesn't absorb pee. Thank you for teaching me that, because I would have been in a big sad way yesterday if I hadn't known that. Or other people who are awake at 4 o'clock in the morning to be like, I'm here too, feeding my baby. And like, truly, I have tears in my eyes right now because it is such a unique stage of life. It's very special to have community that are experiencing it at the same time. I recently spoke to someone who didn't have that, and I'm excited to get to know her a little bit better, and just really taught me the value of having that.
Is she in the same stage of life that you are, but she didn't have that, or?
Yes. Yeah. We recently connected because we're in the same stage of life, and she was just talking about how valuable it is to have other people, because she got to see what it was like without that and then what it was like with that. It just gave me a huge appreciation for this community that we have, Lex. And
Takes a village.
Aw,
It does.
yeah,
And I know it sounds like
It does
cliche,
sound
but
cliche.
it's so special.
not.
So
The connections that you have with your kid, with your partner, and with your friends and your community around you, that's all so important during this time period. And I'm not just talking about for you, but for any of us. Something that I think about often is how many people out there have gone through the same thing that you have or I have in early parenthood, but not necessarily at the same time period as each other. And it's just interesting to think that a lot of our experiences are shared experiences by so many people, but not necessarily on the same timeline. And it's hard to remember things, or maybe we're not, some of us aren't there yet, but we will be there in the future. So to have the ability for those experiences to line up in time with some of the people around you is pretty lucky.
It is. I think we've talked about before, like this idea of just like the perfect timing. It's pretty incredible to have that perfect timing to be in this stage with other people whose opinions and values I value so much.
Mm-hmm. Well, Stefi, the perfect timing that you're referring to, actually, that was something you brought up in our trial episode. And I remember Gibby and I loved that so much. So can you explain to the listeners what you're talking about?
Yeah, just that lately I have really been thinking about this idea of perfect timing, of whether, whatever your sort of belief system is, or if it's just random in the world, that there's this idea that, like, I have felt lately, like everything kind of lines up perfectly, that there is a reason why something is happening at this point in time, that the timing is just perfect. And I am such a like rush person. I am such a like antsy person a lot of the times, and just being able to lean into like, this is the perfect timing. This is when this was supposed to happen. This is the stage of life that I am meant to be in, or I'm arriving at this event at this time that I'm supposed to get there at, even if I'm 20 minutes late. Whatever that idea is of just like leaning into and trusting that the timing is perfect, has been a really, I would like to say a really freeing thing. I'm working on it being a really freeing thing, but I'm trying to really lean into that idea. And I think it works here too, of like the timing is perfect to be in this stage of life.
Sometimes 20 minutes is okay to be late, because if you keep rushing, you're going to miss a couple things.
That's a good point.
True. Yeah.
There are a lot of things when it pertains to timing that are just outside of our control. So that belief that there is this particular timing for this particular thing for a particular reason, whether it's known or not, is a very comforting thought. But you know what, Stefi? I think you said this might be cliche, this might be cheesy, your answer to the question about the connections of that you're valuing with your family and your friends. And I don't think that's cliche at all. I think that is one of the most important parts of life in general. So I'm really excited that you have that. And I'm really grateful to be part of your community and have you be part of my community.
Thanks. Me too. I'm really grateful for it.
I'm putting a heart sign up for everybody.
Oh, a heart sign. I'm putting one up too.
Me too.
Here's another question. Tell us about I know what you're going to say. But I'm excited to hear about it because I don't know all the details about it. But tell us about a show or live performance that you went to that left a big impression on you.
I am so excited to talk about this. I have a whole setup for it. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
I thought about this last night as I was falling asleep. I was like, picture this. It's 1998 and you are 7 years old and the Spice Girls are the biggest thing in the world. My dad is from Spain and worked for an airline, so we often traveled to Europe, and we had some family friends in England as well. So this is my setup to this answer. As a child, I was obsessed with the Spice Girls. They were so empowering, girl power, spice up your life. It was a huge thing. And I was 7, and then they went on this reunion tour when I was in high school. But again, I was a high schooler. I didn't have any money to go see the Spice Girls in concert. So fast forward to 2019 and the Spice Girls are reuniting for a tour, but it's only in the UK. They were only going to the United Kingdom. And at this point, finally, I was an adult with adult money. Not that much, but enough. Yeah, right, exactly. And so my very loving and supportive partner said, I guess we could go to London to see the Spice Girls in concert. And I was like, yes! So I stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning refreshing the page to buy those tickets.
Oh my goodness.
Got tickets to see them. We literally went to London for like a weekend, which I know is insane. So as a child, like I said earlier, my dad worked for an airline, and so we would sometimes go to Spain to see family for short chunks of time. So in my head, that didn't seem so wild. But when you're spending money on it and you're an adult, suddenly you realize that is not
a lot of money to drop for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I have this whole story about, the concert was a Friday night. We got on that plane Thursday and we flew to London and we went to Wembley Stadium and we saw the Spice Girls perform and I cried.
Yay.
And it was it's like, it's just fun and it's just silly and it's just, they're in their bright colored outfits and it's like empowerment and girl power is their whole thing, but it's not just female empowerment. It's like empowerment about be whoever you want to be, love whoever you want to love, live your life the way you want to, as long as you are making the world a positive place. And I just love that so much. And they don't even have that many songs. They have like 2 albums, but it was really,
I had no idea.
just this incredible experience that I'm so grateful that I have a partner who was like, let's do it, let's go. So I could talk about the Spice Girls for literally this entire time, so I should probably put a pause on it.
No, I do have a few follow-up questions.
Yeah, I do have one as well. Well, at least myself, and I'm hoping our listeners want to know, who is your favorite Spice Girl?
I have this whole answer to this too. When I was younger, it was Baby Spice because I was blonde, she was blonde. You kind of pick the one who
that you identify with.
Yeah, exactly. When we would play as kids, she was the one that I would, pretend to be. As an adult, I would say Sporty Spice, Melanie C. She is just really talented. I think she's very underrated. I hope someone out there is like, yeah, totally, I agree. She has a very powerful voice, and so she is very a very talented person. So that's my
I love
answer.
that. I mean, and Sporty Spice gives the impression that it is cool to be strong, and I think that is a wonderful message for girls.
I agree. I completely agree. And I think that is, like, I don't think she has ever been touted as the leader in any way. And yet if you know her voice and you listen to the music, she is the one who kind of has those, like, really, not even the physically strong point, but the strongest part of her voice too. And I don't know. I just think it's very cool to see the way that the power in her body and in her voice that she uses. It's really cool. I really like them.
I listened to Spice Girls when I was a kid as well. My sister and I would choreograph dances to some of our favorite songs. I remember going to a Spice Girls themed birthday party where we got to put on sparkly nail polish. What, did you have a Spice Girls birthday party?
I had my mom, I don't know where my mom found this in the age of pre-ordering things online, but she wrapped all my gifts in Spice Girls wrapping paper and that kind of thing. Ooh. But I don't think I ever had a Spice Girls themed party, so I'm just jealous you got to go to one.
You guys know it's not too late. You can still do that.
Actually, that's a good idea.
That'd be cool.
Maybe we should do it.
So tell us a little bit about so I want to hear about Spice Girls, what Spice Girls look like for you as a child fan, and then tell us some details from the concert, and we also want to hear some of your favorite songs.
Okay. Well, definitely as a child, it was like, close the door to my bedroom, there's a mirror, and I've got the hairbrush, and I'm singing along and making my dance moves to the music, Mm-hmm. Definitely any time that I could. Actually, for a long time, I drove a Volkswagen Beetle as, obviously not a child, but a little bit older, that only had a cassette player. And so, even then, putting my Spice Girls cassettes into the car and jamming out, even as a 16-year-old, a 20-year-old, a 25-year-old. But as a little kid, it definitely looked like those dances in my bedroom. I had a friend down the street, and we would jam out. This was this was in the age where downloading music videos would take 2 hours. So instead of trying to learn the moves to the song, we would make up our own moves. And then being at the concert was really cool because there's this one song, it's called Stop, and there's dance moves to it. And, everybody in the audience is doing the moves to stop right now. And that was just so cool. And I was on a little bit of a younger end in that audience, but there was just a spectrum of people of all ages doing this. And it was like such a sense of community of this thing that is so silly and fun that I'm obsessed with and people giggle about. There's, all of these other people. Wembley Stadium is huge, and it's filled with these people that have the same excitement about this song.
For Spice Girls. Yeah.
Yes. So,
and was your husband dancing as well?
You know, he was a really good sport. He was in there with me. He didn't necessarily have the moves, but he was singing along. I mean, we were exhausted. You know, we had traveled across the world, but he was just singing along with me. We jammed out in the car in the weeks leading up so that he would know all the words. So
there you go.
It was really
so smart.
Very
good
special.
Practice. And you have Spice Girls on vinyl, right?
I do. Yeah. Yes. Actually, one of my first CDs was their. I should say they had 3 albums. The third one, Posh Spice, wasn't there, so you know. But that was my first CD. Was their 3rd album. So
I see.
Yeah.
So tell us about what would you say your top 2 or 3 songs are?
Stop is like my favorite song. There's a song called Viva Forever, which is like a slow ballad, but I just loved it when I was a kid. And then now as an adult, they have a song called Mama. That I used to like sing to my mom, but I listened to it the other day on Mother's Day, and I was like, oh, this is really sweet about just like connecting with your mother, and like how, you know, when you're young, you don't always appreciate and realize how much she did for you. And that as an adult, you're, maybe you become a mom and you realize how special that connection is. And again, I just cry a lot in a good way, but it made me cry. Yeah. So I'd put that one as my 3rd right now. It's very sweet.
Oh, I love that.
Hey, Steph, you know, one of the common themes for all of our guests so far is food. And we're a little bit surprised about it because it is one of the questions everybody picks. And you did as well. So tell us about a meal that stands out for you.
Yeah, you know, I would not consider myself a foodie. I'm like, food nurtures my body, but I'm not someone who goes out of my way to go to a special restaurant or anything. So, but I have this meal that I remember from being a teenager. I mentioned earlier, my family is from Spain. We traveled to Europe quite a bit as a kid because we were able to, because my dad worked for this airline. Very privileged and special to be able to take some of these trips. And I remember being a teenager and we went to Salzburg, Austria, but to get there we had to drive through Germany, and I would get very car sick. This is related for the record. I get very car sick, so I sleep most of the time in the car. And so I don't remember. Dramamine is my friend. I don't remember a lot of the driving part of this trip, but I do remember waking up and we were in the middle of nowhere in this German countryside, and there was this little what looked like a house, and my parents were like, we need to eat, so we're gonna stop here and see what this is about. And we went in, and there was one thing on the menu, and it was steak and potatoes, and that was it. And if you were a vegetarian, sorry. And if you didn't like potatoes, yeah. And I remember, as you know, however old I was, 16 maybe, it was the best meal of my entire life. Wow. I am someone, I like am it going towards becoming a vegetarian. I have like thoughts about meat, but this was the best meal of my whole life. This steak and these potatoes. It was delicious. It was I don't even know how to describe it, and I don't know if it was just this idea that we're in the middle of nowhere in the German countryside and very hungry, but it was so good. I thought that I was having this kind of created memory of how good it was, and then a couple years later or whatever, my mom was like, do you remember that one steak we had in Germany in that middle? And I was like, okay, I'm not alone in this. I am. Like, it was, and I can't even describe to you what made it so good, but when people ask, like, what was the best meal of your life? I'm like, this teeny tiny little house that was probably some family business or something. And they had one thing on the menu, and there were maybe 3 tables in there. And it was the best food I've ever had. I just think about that often and think about the privilege of getting to travel with my family like that. It was pretty good.
A takeaway from me from this amazing story is how easy it would be to just pass up that house and think, I'm not sure about that. It looks like somebody's home. I'm not sure, but then taking the chance on it and it being something that is so phenomenal, you still think about it, and so does your mom. I don't know. Maybe we should all take chances on things a little bit more like that. It would be so interesting if one day you were able to take a road trip back through Germany and stumble across this house and go have another round of steak and potatoes with your family.
I have often thought about, like, could I now, I mean, talking about Google Maps, could I now go find it on the map, like this little place? And I might do that after this, just out of curiosity, see if I can.
If you find it, I do want to see what it looks like. Yeah.
I will. I'm going to see if I can find pictures.
Road trip. You have shared stories that you remembered from the past up until now. So tell us about 15 years from now. What will you remember back fondly in this day?
You know, being a new mom, people are constantly saying, it goes by so fast, you know, enjoy it while they're little. And I think that my hope is that I can be very present right now so that in 15 years I can look back and remember fondly. Obviously, it's extremely difficult, but remember the really sweet everyday moments of just being as a family, being with my son, getting excited when he pulls himself up for the first time or makes a silly face. I think that as he is 15 years old, I hope that I can be excited and present in those moments too, and remember these moments of everyday joy that he brings, and exhaustion, and, you know, like crying and all these things and blow out diapers.
Yeah.
But I hope that we can remember this time as a really formative part of life and a really beautiful season that isn't necessarily marked by traveling to London to see the Spice Girls in concert, but is marked by the everyday moments of hearing Mama for the first time, or, you know, seeing that one little tooth pop in. I think that I think we'll look back on these moments and think very fondly of them, and I hope I can be very present in them now.
Well, you just said the magic word, be present now.
I hope so. It can be hard sometimes. You know, I'm thinking about this because there are a lot of really bad things in the world, like, to be totally right, and like we can't turn away from those things. We have to see them, and we have to call them out, and we have to name them, and we have to do things to change them. And if we are steeped in them 1,000% of the time, we do not have the capacity to work against them well. And so I think being present in the joyful moments that we have the privilege to experience and like fill ourselves up that way and be really great. It all sounds so cliche, but it's so true to be so grateful in these moments, so that then we can have the energy and the fire to say, like, everybody deserves to have these moments growing up with their babes like this, or everybody deserves this community, or everybody deserves a silly obsession with something, whether it's the Spice Girls or pinball or something else, you know. Everybody deserves to have the space to do that, and so it's really special to have a space like this podcast to come and reflect and tell the same stories I've told other people a million times, and so now I get to tell more people about them. You know, it's special to have a space like that, and I think you're getting to see that with a lot of people, and that's really special.
Yeah, we feel pretty lucky to have our guests on, including you, twice. Thanks for joining us twice. But you're so right. Leaning into the positive things that we have the privilege of experiencing serves as fuel to help us keep going and help us advocate for the ability for everybody to have experiences that are positive and wonderful and peaceful.
Yeah, every human deserves that.
Well, Steph, how do you think it went? Well, particularly rate us as podcast hosts right now, 0 to 5 or 1 to 5.
Oh, I was about to say 10 out of 10. So there you go. You only gave me 5. But
So
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Let's go big.
I mean, I love it because Lex, you and I just like chat all day, every day anyways. And so this just is an excuse to chat with my friends and give me I enjoy chatting with you too. So it's been great. It's been fun. And
Are you saying that everyone should reach out and let us know that they also want to be guests on our podcast?
I am absolutely saying that far and wide. Everybody come.
Hey, the listeners out there, yes, we would like anybody that wants to be a guest, send us a note. It's at the end of the podcast here. Let us know.
Yes, please do. Text us or email us. We'll give you the info at the end, like Gibby said. And we would love to have you on and hear what you have to share with us.
Stefi, you were awesome.
Yay!
Thanks for having me. It was really fun to be here.
Yes, thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And I'm excited to air your episode and to share it with the world. Thank you so much.
Now
Thanks.
it's going back to real life.
Woohoo.
Back to real life.
All right. I was going to say see you later.
We'll chat later. We'll probably chat right after this.
We will.
All right. Bye, Stefi.
Bye, Steph.
Bye.
That was very enjoyable. Stefi was a delight on the show with us.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing that stuck out was, and we all need to do this, is be in the present. I know we're running through life, rushing. We have our problems, our worries, and you need to put those aside and just sit back, relax, and enjoy that moment, and recognize what is beautiful at the time.
Yeah, and I think that goes along with what she said about the perfect timing thing, that when you slow down a little bit, you can appreciate or recognize the timing of everything that's happening in your life right now. And that even though you may not understand why things are the way they are, if you can have some kind of trust that something out there is setting it for this time, for this reason, that can be very humbling and reassuring.
Yeah. Well, cliche or not, it goes by so quick. And as you grow older, my goodness, it's all relative.
It was pretty funny to hear Steffi say, this might be cliche, but no, it's not cliche. I think when she was saying cliche about the connections with her family and her friends, no, that is the most important part of life. Or, you know, a little bit cliche about being excited about the Spice Girls. No, having something that's silly and fun, that is something that is important to you, is totally awesome, and is how we continue to lean into the best part of being childlike throughout our entire adulthood. You know, it's fun to be silly.
The other thing that also stuck out is she obviously loves being a mother, and just treasuring every moment of that right now.
She does, and she's an amazing mom and an amazing educator. And she brings so many awesome skills to both of those, but also just a love for kids and for her kid, and a genuine interest in watching them grow and enjoy experiencing life.
Well, hey, when I come up, it may not be this one, but because it's going to be a short trip, but I'll be coming up a couple times over the summer. I would love to go hiking with you guys.
That sounds great.
Porch Swing People out.
Yeah, it's still cheesy.
Porch Swing People is recorded and produced by Lex and Gibby. Opening music was written and produced by Michael Gibson. Porch Swing People is a podcast featuring everyday people. If interested in being a guest, email us at porchswingpeeps@gmail.com.